Welcome back. We are going to continue on out with really kind of talking about the numbers. We started a little bit about that with Candace, who clearly went on to create incredible businesses. And as she said, it was really understanding, part of that was understanding her numbers and paying attention to that and knowing what was going to work and what wasn't and what she needed in order to make her businesses successful and be able to hire people. So I want to continue that conversation. And that is why I brought our next guest on today. And she is going to talk to us really about understanding our numbers, about creating wealth in your business. She is the creator of the Wealth Shift program, and she knows quite a bit about financial literacy and helping women entrepreneurs truly understand how to create that wealth in their business, in their life. So welcome, Asanda Madikane. Hi.
Hello, hope you can hear me.
Absolutely.
How's everybody?
Absolutely. I can hear you. Thanks for being here. I know it's what, 8 or 9 o'clock and you're.
It is 8:15 here in Brussels, Belgium. There's a thunderstorm with rain and it's it's gray on our beautiful sunny, it's supposed to be summer, but I'm waiting for it to arrive.
I have been there and it is beautiful there.
Yes, it's truly beautiful. And I think
people, it's still beautiful though.
Yes, and we're just hoping that it will even be better in summer because we're all looking forward to being outside and meeting with other people.
Yeah, right. It's finally like, let's get out in those squares and enjoy some of it, right?
Yeah.
It's about
COVID. We've been locked down for quite long. We've been locked down for 9 months, and we've just had our freedom like 2 months ago.
Yeah, I know some of these cities have had it harder than we have here because we're in my area where we've been able to be outside at least a little bit more and such. But I know for many people it's they're just itching to get out and finally and then you have the weird weather, right? So it's like, come on, give us a break here. So well, listen, I'm so glad you're joining us because one of the things that I was just talking with Candace about earlier is understanding the numbers in a business and knowing that. And I think what oftentimes happens, particularly with female entrepreneurs, and I know that I have been guilty of this as well, is that I'm like, oh, I'm making some money and I'm not really paying attention to all the little things that are actually going out, like, the website hosting, or maybe my DocuSign subscription, or, whatever. There's so many different little subscriptions that add on when you have a home, especially a home-based business or an online type business. So it's understanding that. But there's a couple of levels here that I'd love to talk about, because I know that you have a Wealth Shift program and you really you're known as the Wealth Accelerator. And I think some of this, and I want you to speak into this because I know we touched on this a little bit briefly when we first started talking, is that there tends to be a fear around this. And why is that? Like, why do you see that is? And how do you really kind of help people to shift away from that and understanding how to create a profitable business?
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is be kind with ourselves, because as women, for generations, we've been told to be quiet, be pretty, don't speak your mind, don't say anything. And just like if you want to be in the presence of making a decision, you had to have a man to support you in order to do that. So we're all of us right now with this current changes going on, we're taking responsibilities of our own lives. We're getting to that point of our lives, we get to make choices. And that freedom, that opening of the door is scary because it's new, because no longer do we have someone to blame for our unhappiness, no longer have someone to blame for where we are in our business and our structures. We are fully responsible. And that gap between being a child who's constantly protected by everybody and told to just be kind, I'll look after you, to having adolescents who just passed us by, and then now we're an adult that has choice. Nobody told us how to make that step on our own. So we've been thrown out there into the world, and the world said, hey, the door's open. Now you have to make decisions. And we're like, what? I have to do it myself? And the blinds have been opened, the lies of keeping the information away from the specific a group of human beings on the earth has been kept away from us for so long that now we have to take responsibility. So I don't consider it really a fear. I just consider it really we have not tapped into the knowledge yet of how money is just one way of expressing power and freedom and having to have choices. I do apologize. It is a thunderstorm.
I can hear, yeah, I can hear the thunder.
Crackling and drama outside. But yeah, so
I actually like
dramatic.
that sound. In Southern California,
Finances,
love a
boom,
good
boom,
thunderstorm.
boom.
Ooh, let me curl up with a good book. Tell me more.
Yeah, but I don't really want to see this as like this that we're afraid. I think we just have this new knowledge and now we have to use it. And now the question is, what do I do with this? What do I do with this, all this knowledge? And then dealing with ourselves first. That's where the issue is. That's where really the core of the problem is, that we first have to deal with ourselves that in order to deal with money, because the two are so linked. Whatever internal problems you're having with yourself, with health, emotional, psychological, your relationships with other people, it's going to reflect in your money, in the scarcity of money as well, and how you're managing your money, how you play with that. And I think that's where financial literacy needs to start. It's like, what is this new relationship that I'm going to have this money? Because it is a relationship. And how can I have a better relationship with it and take it from that place, from a loving place?
That's a great point, because I think that we oftentimes, just kind of pass by that. It's like, hey, I want to make this amount of money and these are the steps I need to get there. But then oftentimes we don't hit those goals. And so it's like, why aren't we hitting those goals if I'm taking some of the steps? Well, are you taking the steps and doing all the things necessary that you need to do? And oftentimes we'll find no. So why not? And is it because that relationship or maybe your belief about what you think you can make is off? Is that what you think leads to?
Absolutely, Kim. It is our habits and our beliefs that will constantly hold us back from the things that we want, that will constantly put us in cycles of sabotage, that will constantly get us into friction with ourselves, or dis-ease or discomfort when it's time to make choices, because we're such habits drawn human beings that we want to do things constantly, and we love to do the things that we know worked in the past, and now we're trying to bring this past with us to create something new. And then when it doesn't work, we freak out and we're like, no, this is too complicated. I'm going back to what I was doing before, because I was comfortable there. And entrepreneurs are the most vulnerable people in their business, because you need support and security. And the best way to have support and security is first knowing that you can trust yourself. You have to be able to trust yourself, that when I make a decision to finish a task, I'm going to finish it. Whenever I make a decision that I'm going to execute and have a specific deadline, I'm going to do it. I'm the only one that I can depend myself in finishing those tasks, because that leadership is what is needed for us to really step into. And we're really in this environment where we're just fighting against ourselves, like what we think are who we should be and who we used to be. And these two are just not going to gel, because in order to have something new in our lives, we have to be someone new as well. And letting go of the past is really about creating a future, or a new identity with new habits, new beliefs, in order to have the things that we want. And financial literacy is just the same way. It's like, what is the better way that I can deal with money, and making sure I trust myself that I'm going to execute it and find out what is the best way for me that I can be successful with this money or this business or these people that I'm working with as a team. It's so important that we constantly reflect back on ourselves and how we can do better and be leaders in our companies.
Yeah, it's stepping into that, like you just said, it's how can you be a leader in your company, because it is shifting a different way of being and into a different mindset. And especially if you've been in a role somewhere else and you're now trying to start your own business. And even if you've been, a stay-at-home mom and you're now thinking, oh, I want to start a business and I want to do something different, you still have to step into a different role. And that requires those leadership skills, but it requires understanding, like you said, you brought up a great point about understanding that past and those habits and knowing that maybe what worked before isn't going to work here. Like what got you to the point you're at now isn't the thing that's going to get you here. Like you kind of have to make those shifts. So how do you recommend people really kind of go about, looking at that and saying, how can you quickly shift into like that
Yeah.
CEO mindset?
The best way to shift into anything is, I really break it down into like 5 specific steps when you want to shift into anything, meaning a shift into a new identity, shift into a new relationship, shift in with this new relationship with money. Is that you first have to identify what is it about money, what kind of relationship do you want? Because as women, we don't give ourselves permission to actually ask for the things that we want. And we're just hoping someone comes and delivers it to us.
That is so true, right? And where does that come from though? Because
nobody asks for our opinion. And when we do speak, they tell us to sit down. So, and now, luckily for our kids and their generation, it's completely different. They have a platform to express themselves, they have a platform to speak. And we're learning from our kids as well that, oh, I can speak up, oh, I can share my feelings. And there's not this judgment or this, this shame about it. But we're that generation still that has to hold that energy and do the healing for ourselves and for our future kids and the people that we're going to touch in our lives. So we first have to really learn how to ask. And the best way to identify, as I said, is to ask, what is it that I want? What is it? Be brutally honest, be selfish, be stingy, whatever word you want to use, but be brutally honest. What do I want? Yeah. Because when you get to a point where you're so clear on what you want, there's nothing, you cannot stop a woman on a mission. You really can't. If a woman says, I want to be pregnant, she's going to be pregnant. If she says, I'm going shopping, she's going shopping. So yeah. It's the same in life and the same in relationships, and it's the same with money. It's like when we make our minds up, it's all or nothing. And that's how we should take our lives. We should take our lives with so much passion and conviction that when I speak my truth has to happen. And that's how it is. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I think it's such an important attitude that we need to take on as women, that we are manifestors, we are creators, and we really create from within, whether we're creating human beings or the things that we want. But we first have to ask.
That is a great way of looking at it, in that, yes, we are creators and we have that ability to create. And I think when you pull it back to look at, we're women, we have the ability to create. So when you can be so connected to what it is that you want, and I know for sometimes that you have to look at what you don't want in order to get clear on what you do want, and I understand that, but again, the shift is to more into what do you want, so you can focus on that. So you're pulling yourself towards that rather than more of what you don't want, and getting into that and stepping into that. But then from there, really being able to, well, maybe it's not even able, it's more being willing to accept that what it is that you want when it does start to come towards you. Because I think oftentimes we don't either accept it or we don't recognize it. Because we don't recognize it in some cases.
I got like goosebumps when you just say that. I'm like, oh yes. I see it often, over and over again. So in just taking this, going back to the shift. So the shift is first to identify what is it you want. And then you specifically said, Kim, the next step is really to eliminate what you don't want. And that will happen with your family, with your friends, with things, even things in your life, in your house, in your car, whatever. You just eliminate stuff that you want so that you can put back things in your life that you actually do want. But the idea of asking for what you want is that you do not repel it when it arrives, because we have a tendency to repel exactly what we're asking for because we feel unworthy. We feel not ready. I'm not qualified, whatever word you're using, that you feel like this thing I've been asking for, oh, it has arrived and now I don't want it. And I always have this good examples, like you could be you've been asking universe, send me a hot, sexy man who's intelligent and loving and kind. And you go to Starbucks and you're in a queue and this beautiful man comes to you and says, hi, what's your name? You have two choices. You can become the woman that asked for the man so you could receive each other at the same frequency, or you feel like you're unworthy for the thing you just asked for and you just shrink and you be quiet. Mm-hmm. So that retreat and receiving is something that we have to learn. It's like, yes, I asked for it, please take it and have it because it's yours. And that's what all that the universe is asking from us, whether we're asking for increase in our jobs, whether we're asking for more money in our business, more clients. When the opportunity comes, you're not going to be so afraid of the opportunity because you've asked for it. And if it has arrived at your door, it means you're ready. And trust me, whenever you're acting at your highest integrity, you will always be ready, because you can even learn as you grow. And that's why I always take that Starbucks analogy. Is like, just when the opportunity comes, just surrender into it. It is so important that we also learn how to receive, because we're such nurturers, we're givers of our time, our energy, our love, and it's important that we also learn to receive.
Really important that we learn how to receive, and I think that tends to be a difficult thing. Yes. for many. I see this more with female entrepreneurs more than males, and yes. You know, for whatever reason that is, and I think, well, partly because you just said we are so used to nurturing and giving that we don't take time to fill our own selves first. We just give and give and give. And so, and especially as mothers, you know, it's so easy to do that and to kind of lose yourself in that process. But the other point, though, is that you can't, what I have found is you cannot be so caught up or really define the way in which things are going to happen for you. Because I, as much as I believe in goal setting and such, and setting intentions, I think are important, but you can't get caught up in the mechanics, because you don't always know how that man's going to show up in your life, where that money's going to come from. Sometimes you may think, oh, okay, if I need 10 new clients, that might be the idea of it. But then all of a sudden, you may be thinking, okay, well, if I work with 5 people a week, and all of a sudden you could have an opportunity to create a mastermind or a retreat, or you get invited to speak somewhere where all of a sudden you've got 20 clients. So you can't dictate how things are going to come. Yeah. Do you agree?
Oh, yes. Kim, you just brought up 3 different layers for me in my brain. I'm trying to make it straight back to the point of this conversation is about financial literacy. As much as we're talking about the human being making decisions, that's whatever turmoil is going inside in your brain, in your heart, in your soul, it's reflecting on your business as well. It's reflecting on how much income that you're coming in, because if you're unable to ask and you're unable to receive, you're unable to also take a step-by-step program and complete it, so that you can have and create systems in your business that actually work, because you are unable to receive that information. And then the second is that there's also things in your life that will happen spontaneously, not on a specific time and date scheduled. You know, the universe is going to call you and say Tuesday, that's where we're going to meet. It's not going to happen, but it's part of the magic of it. But you have to be flexible. You have to be malleable to know how to run a business with a system that is predictable, and that gives you confidence. I completely agree with that. But also enjoy the magic of receiving things that are part of your bigger plan, but are not planned for. And as I said before, when you act from your highest integrity, you're always going to be ready. Doesn't matter if you feel you're not ready or you don't know what to do. You'll figure it out on the spot, because you'll be stepping up and leveling up to receive the thing that you've been asking for in your life. And money is just the same. I've had clients who would literally sabotage their sales call when they knew that the client was going to say yes, because they weren't sure that they were able to deliver that at that certain price or that certain service, and then start offering discounts, unnecessary discounts, or they want to put in all their packages in one just so that they feel they're supporting the customer. And the client's like, no, I just want this, just deliver me that. And those are just small instituted ways that people just sabotage their money success. But it starts again back to, what is it that you're so afraid of? Why are you so afraid of creating abundance in this one form? Because that's what money is. It's just abundance in one form. There's abundance of water, there's abundance of love, there's abundance of food, there's abundance all around us. But money is just another frequency of abundance. Why can't you accept that as much as you're accepting something else?
It's an energy, right? And it's an exchange of energy. And I've heard before people say it's like a current. You want to jump in the current and go with the flow of the current. That's why it's called currency, right? And you want to be in flow with it. But why? You're so right in that. I mean, because I did this early on, and I'd be like, oh, I have to layer more things in. I have to give more value, or I have to repackage this, or I have to throw this in. And it's like, my client wasn't asking for that.
No.
I'm like, oh, we could have charged a lot more, right? And then you look around and you go, wow, somebody else is charging a lot more. And that truly is a personal development thing. I think it is. I think that is a major psyche thing. And it's understanding what our value is. How do you get yourself into that where it's like, oh, I am now able to charge $10,000, a year to work with me, whatever it may be. How do you help women to get past that, where we're not self-sabotaging? Because I think that is so common to do, where we just throw everything there and it's like, stop.
Well, part of the wealth shift, the first and the very most important part of the training is really you have to know yourself. You have to know your blind spots. You have to know what your triggers are. You have to know what your habits are, so that you can catch yourself just before you're doing. And this happens at every stage of your business. It doesn't matter if you're a startup or you're growing or you're scaling, you're making $10 million. You are always going to have these trip ups that are trying to catch you in your success and test you out. And you need to know yourself so well that you create, again, that security and support around you. And the best way to create support and security around you is to have great people that you work with that support the parts where you're not strong at, or your weaknesses, if you want to call it that, and having a great family boundaries. I call it boundaries, so that you are also protected emotionally from making decisions as well when it comes to finance. Because people have different financial stories, and some families, they depend on you to support them, and blah, blah, blah. And all this synergy affects your income, and it affects your bank statement. So at the end of the day, when I say to my clients, you have to know yourself, and then you have to pay attention to your money. Like, you have to look at it every single day, because money loves attention. And if you're aware of every movement, if you're aware of the movement of your money and how it moves into your business, it's easy for you to identify, I can gold mine that. That's a great asset. Let me increase value in that. Let me increase value in this. And that way you start creating and opening the cycle for money to come into your life just by paying attention. And that's what financial literacy really is. Like, pay attention to your money. Like, what are you spending? Where is it going? How are you using it? Because not only does money love attention, it loves to have a purpose. It wants to have a purpose. Like, please tell me, when I come into your life, what you're going to do with me? Like, what I'm going to hang out here? What, when I'm just going to chill? And no, give me a purpose. I need a purpose, because that purpose of money is like, money, when you come in, this is your job. You do that and this and that. And money wants to come to you. Say, yeah, we want to send my friends over to come and help too. And it's like just the speaker before, it's just like talking about when you open your hand to say, hey, I need help, people come and help. People just open themselves up. When you give your money intention, like, I need you to fill these containers in my life, money comes and fills in that container, because you have purpose and you're paying attention to it. And then it's just a numbers game. It's really fundamental to again, it goes back to your own well-being. If you pay attention to yourself, like, what are my emotions? How am I making my decisions? Who's affecting what? my environment for me to make great decisions as a leader. Your money is the same thing.
I love, love, love that you said money loves attention and that we need to give it attention because I guess I never thought of it that way, but it's almost like we're treating it like as, well, it's part of our team, right? Part of our business, part of our team, and not as a separate entity that's out there. Like, I think for so many of us, it's been that, oh, you want to get more money because we look at it in a different way, but it's kind of changing your thinking around it and looking at it more like it's this energy, but almost like this being that needs attention, that needs love, that needs a purpose. I love that as well, because if you can look at it and say, I know for a fact when I set an intention, and that intention for me usually has to have some kind of give back component to it, because it makes it easier for me to know that I'm keeping it in circulation. I guess is a sense, because I grew up with the idea that, tithing, and that's so important. And I understand that. So for me, it's if I can pull that in, but I've never thought about it as looking at it going, okay, here, money, I honestly could take a sheet of paper and go, here's your purpose. Here's what you're going to do. And here's what I need you to do, where I need you to show up. And I almost think like I'm going to have some containers and I'm going to put them on my desk and go,
exactly.
I love the visual. I'm such a visual person that I love that. Like, I think that will, I don't know. It's just a way of saying
it will change your life. It will change your life. And I love how you said it's a team member. It really is. It really is, because it's a great team member that also helps nourish your team, your human team members. It gives them a life and opportunity to give back to their families. It feeds your family. It feeds your business. It feeds your clients. When it has so much intention, you no longer look at your business from a place of scarcity, from a place of lack. You really look at it as this abundant frequency that's happening, this exchange. So then your communication to your clients on those sale calls is completely different, because I'm really here to serve you. And the frequency of you committing to your change or your exchange for this product is cash, because that cash it's got jobs to do, it's got work to do, and you've got work to do. And then it's not salesy, it's not sleazy, it's really there to really hold everybody up to, again, to the highest integrity, and you are so attentive to what that money is doing that it flows through you and through your team members as well, because they're also going to be attentive about how they're using it in their specific departments as well, in order to create more impact, more expansion, and more messaging to get more clients to come in. And it's going to really be part of your culture. And it just changes the culture completely in your business.
And I think that it's important to, like you said, look at it every day and know where it's at. Just like you would, talk with somebody that's helping you. If you've got a support team for yourself, how would you communicate with them on a regular basis, right? You'd be saying, okay, this is what needs to be done today, because I think it's very easy to not look at the numbers, in particular if they're a little worried about it, right? If there haven't been many sales and you're like, oh, I don't really want to look at that. But how can you ever grow if you don't know where it's at? I remember taking a course one time, and it was all about like, what are your numbers? What are the analytics? What's really working for you? And you just mentioned that, look at your money every day, know where it's at, and then look at the thing that it allows you to look at the thing like, wow, what's bringing in the most amount of money? And companies do this all the time. But as entrepreneurs, I don't know. I think it was like, oh, it took me a while to learn that. Well, now I have a chart and I look at it and I go, okay, what have I done to it? Have I touched that yet? Have I done it today? But I'm going to look at it differently now and start almost like talking with it. Like, hey, money, what are you doing?
Tell me, inspire me, because that's what you do. It's like, inspire me. And I love how you said that you can identify what's working, what isn't. Because as entrepreneurs, we have so much distraction, so much noise, so many shiny objects that we're running around trying to fix things. I don't have enough money, so I'm going to go maybe Facebook. Is it Instagram? Is it YouTube? Is it this? Like, you're running around trying to figure out, like, how did you get here? Look at what you've done already. What was successful? And then I call it gold mine your assets. Take what is working and just double it, multiply it, because that's what people want. but
Right.
then give more of that, serve that. And it's not only going to fuel you with the excitement of thinking of the great different ways you can deliver this one product that you already have, but it gives you certainty that people really love this. So all I have to just give more of it and find more people who want this product too. And then you're not running around feeling overwhelmed or stressed or running after shiny object. You just know that I just need to multiply my asset. So what is the best way that I can do it? And then whenever there's another new marketing strategy out there in the planet, it's not going to be, you're not going to chase after it because it's got nothing to do with you. It's literally none of your business. Right. So just focus on your business and what works and multiply that, and then move on to something else if you want to. But I think we should have less stress in our lives.
Well, yeah. And I was talking with, I think it was Sherry yesterday, and just saying, what, it gets to be easy. It doesn't have to be a struggle. And I think for far too long, we bought into this idea that building a business can be a struggle, or making money can be a struggle, or getting your business to the next level. And the reality is, if you change the way that you view that, and you look at things, like I say, if you can look at it and say, ask yourself, how would a millionaire do this? What would they do? Would they be sitting here, pounding out all these little social media things? No, they'd have somebody else doing it. And so I think the faster that you can shift away from those tasks that you don't need to spend your time or money on, because if you're able to charge $250 an hour for your time, and somebody, this is going to cost $25 an hour, why would you spend your time on it? And what I have learned personally is that money's going to go regardless. I don't know how it's going to spend it on something, right? Or something's going to, what inevitably happens if I hold on, I can't afford that yet. I can only afford a VA for 20 hours a month. I can't go to 30, or I can't, when I found myself holding on to that, boom, something else pipe bursts in the house, somebody has, I don't know, surgery they need or something, whatever, right? There's something happens that's going to suck that money away. So I know it's going to go anyway. So now I kind of have it changed in my mind going, why wouldn't I spend it? Because I know for a fact, I've been proving this to myself, that if I spend that money on tasks that I would be much better off delegating, it comes back to me multiplied in a different way. But it took me a long time to get into that.
Yeah, but that's normal, because they don't teach us this stuff at school. They're just like, teach you how to count, and then they're like, yeah, go forth and do your thing. So we don't know this. So the learning curve is it's what takes us so long to get to our six, and us to constantly fail and learn and fail and learn. And that's why we have coaches like you and I to really help people like shorten that learning phase, and not spend too much time tripping over themselves. And that goes back to you talking about eliminating, like first identify what you want, eliminate what doesn't work. Then it's easy for you to say, yeah, I need a VA. Yes, I need this CRM because I can't continue with the Excel sheet or whatever. It's easier to make decisions and give your money purpose of how it's going to actually generate more money for you. And I love your analogy of saying, if I don't use it, I'm going to spend it on something else anyway. And it's so true.
It always happens.
It will disappear.
It always happens because you know what I think it is, because in your mind, you know what that money, how much it's going to cost, right? So let's say it's, $400. You kind of already know in your mind. And since you've been holding on to it, it's such a mental thing. You're holding on to it and you're thinking, I don't know if I can do that. And then you're trying to reason it out, right? So we justify, then we reason and blah, blah, blah. We play all those games. And then you say, let's say you make the decision, okay, not this month, but next month. Boom. What happens? Something happens and it's going to cost $399.99 or $4. Right? It's going to be almost right. Exactly. How many times is that? That's happened to me time and time again.
Oh Lord. And you see, that's because you weren't gold mining your assets. You didn't identify what's working for you and multiply that so it can make you more money. So when the pipe bursts, it's okay. You got this. You got this. But and it's about giving money attention. If you don't give it attention, it just like goes to somebody else who wants my attention. Right? Isn't that what money is? It's like, if you're not giving me attention, I'll just go somewhere else. Someone else wants me.
Somebody else is going to love me more. So, and take good care of me.
Yeah,
I love thinking about it as a being, because that
yeah,
change, that changes the dynamic to it. It really does. It makes it
absolutely. It's really a
easier.
relationship. It's really just another kind of like we have relationship with plants and animals and nature and people and dogs and whatever. We have money is the same thing. It's like, give me attention. If you don't want me, fine, I'll go somewhere else. Dogs too. If you don't love a dog, they will run away and go to somebody else to adopt them. And money is the same thing. Somebody else wants it more than you do, and it'll just go. Money just wants to go where it's wanted, where it
Right.
can have purpose, where it can grow and make some babies and have friends and hang out. This is why the rich get richer.
Yeah.
It's just easier to make more money because there's already this vacuum of energy saying, we have plenty here. Come and join the party. Like, yay,
Yeah.
we come in.
Loves company. And that's so true. It is right. The rich get richer. And there's nothing wrong with that. The rich, because they're operating in a different level, at a different level, with a different
Oh
mindset.
yeah.
And what you appreciate, right, is what you appreciate appreciates. So I think it's important to,
I love that.
right? You want to appreciate your money because it's going to appreciate as well. I learned that a while ago.
Yes.
And it's like, wow, that really is true. And so I do love the idea of thinking of it as a being. And also, you said focus on the asset. What's the thing that's making you the money, and go back and spend your time on that. And I did learn early on. I started with an online, when I went into the online space, I started with an online publication for meeting planners and that industry. And I did really well with that. And it led, actually, subsequently, it led to the development of 2 other businesses. So 3 different income sources, one idea. But it drained so much energy, that one publication. And I had thought about, I was so connected to, wow, I can make a lot of money if I expand it here, if I take it here and I take it all at these different locations. And I had to step back and say, oh, am I just chasing it now for the money? And is it a time suck? And what's happening? And I had to be willing to let that go, because I wasn't connected to it anymore. It had served its purpose. And I had to be aware of that, though. And it took me a while to let that go, because it was like a baby. Oh my God, it's the first thing I
Yeah.
made me such great money, and it led to this. Am I willing to let that go? And I actually just did that again recently, yesterday, as a matter of fact, with an online site I had built that had advertising connected to it, and it was bringing in money monthly. But at the same time, I was like, oh my God, this is such an energy. Do I want to put a team in place? Do I want them to manage it? Then I have to. And I started thinking, is that my real asset right now? Or
Mhm.
is this that's doing twice as much, 3 times now as much? Why am I hanging on to that? But you made a great point in that you have to be willing to focus on that asset and let other things go, because if you don't, you can't grow from there.
No. And you'll constantly be chasing for the next thing, and that's what makes us have burnout. That's what makes us unfulfilled, I would say, rather, because it just never fulfills you. You do this, it's successful, but it doesn't fulfill you. Then you go something else, it doesn't fulfill you, because you never go all in.
Yeah.
It's always just, and then you retreat. And because the identification of what you want is not clear. What you truly want is not clarified, and it's not translating in your businesses as well. So that's what's happening. That's why I say, know yourself so clearly, that what is it that I want? Be clear, because every business that we launch, every idea that we have to remember that your life energy is connected to that. There's only so many hours and days in this lifetime that you have. So pick something that you know you're going to go all the way.
Yeah.
Not just some way, not halfway, not maybe, all the way. Because that's what's going to fulfill you. That's what's going to give you joy. And that's what's going to give you the financial freedom and success that you're looking for. Because it'll keep you up at night, but in a good way, happy,
Yeah.
like anticipation, not
Not that 3
stress.
a.m. call, wake up, where you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How am I going to cover that expense?
Yeah, it's
I've had those where, or the tenseness in the shoulder going, oh no, how am I going to do this? And it's getting away from that.
and
That
it's normal. It's absolutely normal. I've been there so many times, and I think it's because there's a shift happening. We've been so connected to the masculine way of creating success. Go, 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 make $1 million, grab, grab, grab. It's just like push, push, push. And we push and push and push, and we get exhausted, and we get the thing, and we get them, we're like, I mean, was it even my idea to go for that goal? Was it really what I wanted? Because if you haven't identified what the money means, what the success actually means for you, of who you're going to become, it's going to be meaningless. You could have $1 million right now or $10 million. And if it doesn't give you any satisfaction, you've missed the point. You're going to lose all of it just as quickly as you've received it. And now there's this huge shift where we have to really, and I think that's why we had pandemic, we had time to sit down and say, what the hell do I want? Because everybody keeps telling me who I am, who I should be, how I should show up, and it's not working for me. I'm just like finished. I'm exhausted of other people's expectations of me. And when we started to look internally inside ourselves, what is it that I really want? Like, be brutal, because maybe sometimes you don't even need 6 figures just to be happy, or you need 10 million just to have the life that you want. But be brutally honest, so that when you're super honest and get scared and you cry and you forgive yourself and all that stuff that comes with letting go, is that it's easier to make decisions, and hard decisions. Like, what do I need to let go? What do I need to focus on? And how am I going to get there? Because your focus becomes so laser. Your emotions are connected to the becoming of who you are, not necessarily the money. The money is just a support of how to get there, how to impact more lives, how to work in a team, how to create something magnificent in your life. This is your lifetime. This is your life energy. Choose it well and do the inner work. I always consider do the inner work so that everything else is not a guessing game, because you know who you are 1000%. And I had to learn the hard way.
It's so true, because personal development and business development they run absolutely parallel. And you cannot get there if you aren't truly connected to that. And I think, what you said about, well, a couple of different points that I want to address here. Really being clear and understanding what it is that you want, because I think oftentimes we get caught up in the traditional way, right? Do this, early bird gets the worm, and go out here and this amount you have to make this many calls to get this, blah, 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 blah. I can remember being in my sales days. We sit down and have prospecting day, and we're like on the phone all day long, right? And I'm thinking, this is serving no purpose, because there was no connection. It was just like, let's just hammer this out, right? But it's different when you actually take the time, like you're talking about, to really get brutally honest with yourself. And I think that can be, it's eye-opening, but I think it can be frightening, because I think those sometimes are the things that, when we are honest and we write it down, sometimes we look at it and we think, how am I possibly going to create a business with that? Like yesterday, talking with Linda, she said, I realized I loved building communities and collaborating with people. And at the same time, it was like, okay, that's great. How do you build a community? And actually, like, what am I going to do? I'm not a real estate, I'm not going to build an apartment community type thing, but when you do that and you take the time to write that down, it's just, even just putting it on paper and sitting with it for a while starts to activate some things, right, inside of us. Like, it triggers something, Bing, bing, bing,
bing. You asked, so the universe gives you ideas. I need an idea. Then you have no idea the power of asking.
Yeah.
And we're in this day and age where we don't even have an excuse anymore why your idea is not working. We already know. It's like, it's either, maybe you don't have enough funds. You can pin it out what it is exactly why your idea didn't work, but you can execute your idea and test it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter, but you've tested it and seen how far you can go. And I think we have to be courageous enough to sometimes fail and trying out something and trying something new, because as creators, we're disruptors. We're always disrupting. We're disrupting the way we talk. We're disrupting the way that we exchange work and business and services with each other. We're constantly disrupting the way of doing things. So of course you're going to think your idea is bogus or like completely out of the world. But if you thought about it, somebody wants it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's evident every single like year or 6 months now. I have a brilliant idea. And then some crazy person has the same idea and it's out in the market making millions of dollars. And you're like, what the hell?
Oh my God, exactly. Because we sit on it and we hold on to it and we think, analyzing it, which, you know, can I actually do something with this? What am I gonna do? How do I? And then we get caught up in the how instead of just stepping out. And I think it's so important that, yeah, you don't want to, you want to, I mean, money loves speed. And if you don't start acting on it, damn right, someone else is going to have that idea and they're going to be out there in the marketplace with it. Doesn't mean that you're not going to get another opportunity, but those opportunities are going to keep knocking. And until you open that door and say, I'm willing to go through now. And why are you, I think then it becomes the question, like, why are you still holding back? Like, what is it? Like you said, you have to know yourself so well. Why are you holding back then? Where does that come from? And why are you so afraid to put yourself out there?
Yes, I cannot stress that any more, because I could hand someone an Excel sheet. I could tell you how to manage your money. I could tell you how to gold mine your assets, how to multiply it, how to multiply your money. I could show you how to play the game like the rich. But if you don't believe it, I can't help you. It's like this terrible paradox. If you don't believe that you deserve that in your life, that change, that new paradigm of thinking, no spreadsheet, no course, no motivational video is going to help you, because you have to get out of yourself. And this is the only reason that I believe, this is the only reason people fail, is that they get in their own way. They're unable to ask for help. They're unable to see when things are not working for them. They're just pushing through and pushing and not being honest. Because I think so many, and I'll speak for myself, I know that many times in my life, I was just pushing, and it didn't matter how much money I threw at it or whatever fancy website I did, it just didn't work. And at the moment, I must be fair that you don't see that, because you got, you're in your box. You're laser focused on this project that you think is going to excel. But then when you step back and you sold it or whatever, finished it or closed it, and you really look back, like, why didn't it work? And you have to be honest, you're like, ouch, okay. But I think it's part of our growing pains as human beings here, that we have to learn. And sometimes we have to learn through that very deep opposite of what we want. We first have to see by life experience, oh, this is not working for me, so that we can make a decision. Okay, that's not for me anymore, or whatever the change you want to make.
And being willing to let that go. But you're absolutely right. I know Tony Robbins talks about this. He says, like, I can teach people exactly what they need to do. I can show them A, B, C, D. And yet, there's still a lot of people that won't do it, and they won't reach that level of success. And so it's like, okay, that's when you have to have a real, I think, two things. You have a hard talk with yourself and you say, what do I really want? But two, I think that's when you start to look for somebody to kick your butt. I mean, I know for me, it's like, look, I've always believed in personal development. That's just part of who I am. I owned a personal development franchise, always read those books. But there are times where it's like, if I want to get to the next level, I have to be willing to have somebody that can help get me there. And to spend not just the finances on it, but the time, know that I'm investing my time in myself. Just like if I'm going to, college and taking a course or trade school or whatever, if you want to do that and you really know that's what you want and something's not working, damn, that's the time to go out and find the support. And that support, the resources, those systems we sent to you, I believe, if you ask, like you said, ask the questions, like, show me, like, what's my next step? How do I get there? Right. And then we'll be shown. It could be a person, a place, whatever, an idea, but you'll be shown it. It's a matter of, are you going to step out then and take action on it? And sometimes it's just baby steps at first.
Yeah. everybody has their own way of learning, and that's something we all have to respect, that we have our own way of learning. But I think when someone comes onto your phone call or strategy call or whatever your business call, and they're speaking face to face, they've made a decision that you could be the person to help them. And then money becomes the frequency for them to commit to themselves. That's what money is in that game. It's really like, I'm going to give you this money so that I can commit to actually fulfilling the tasks that I'm doing. And if you look at those sales calls or those strategy calls with your clients like that I'm actually here to help you get you what you want. And the money is an exchange of you to make a promise to yourself that you're going to execute it. And that you're going to do your best thing. It's the most powerful thing ever. And the most loving thing you can do for your clients, because they need that. They need that motivation to not hide behind their own blind spots, or hide behind their fear of why they're not going to commit, because committing is a really hard thing for people. And if they can commit to a number or an activity, because that's part of based on their fear, we can help them get over that. So that's a great point that you mentioned about money and pricing when it comes to the psychology of people, how we think, that push, that motivation that we need, because words are not going to get you there. Maybe the price will.
Yeah, well, that's true. But I think if you don't have any skin in the game, then it's what the heck, who cares? It's like, oh, okay, it's another thing that I'm learning, but you don't really put as much effort or energy into it. And for some people, I mean, I think some people do, and some, it's a way to lead you on to other things. But I also know, and what I have found is that it's important to have the human touch as well, is to have some kind of accountability system, something there that helps you, whether it's a mastermind group or whether it is, even if you have a course, if you have like meetings and such through that, because I've bought so many courses. I don't even know my login credentials because I never even opened them. I'm like, well, why did I spend the money on that? Because I got caught up in it at the time. And then I realized I didn't need this. I've already got it, and I haven't even done this one yet, but the difference is the one that I have a community there too, that's kind of cheering me on or helping me, or where I have like a mastermind group or meetings or, to a couple of accountability partners. Because I think that, especially for entrepreneurs, I really think that changes the game.
Yeah, but Kim, don't you pay a premium for that? That's not just some do-it-yourself course when you have
No. I know. That's just it. It was like, I was just going, I did this, but I didn't know that there were other levels to it. And I'm like, oh, I should.
That's why money becomes this frequency of committing, like you committing to the time and the effort you're going to put in. I mean, your brain is like, we put in this much money, these how many zeros in this, I better participate. I don't care if I'm tired, I'm going to participate. I'm going to make sure that I get my money back somehow by participating.
Exactly. But I think what I'm saying is that, in some of these courses, it's like, okay, here's my course and it's, $600, $700 or whatever. And then I had like I'm thinking of two courses, there was no communication whatsoever. Here's your login info, and that was it. And I learned from that, holy cow, I'll never do that, because they can never what happened next is within a couple of months, how's it going? And then they were upselling me into something else. And I'm like, oh man, no. I haven't even opened your course, right? And so to me, it was like, okay, that was a learning lesson. And it was like, well, what can I always look at it like, I spent that money. What can I glean from this? How not to do it, right? And so, note to self, always add something else, where people have a check-in, where they have somebody they can talk to, where they have a human being for that accountability, and change it a little bit, because I knew what wasn't working. But I always have to look at it and go, wow, I've spent that money. Well, what did I learn from it? And I just think that's important. And I think especially as growing your business, just as you need a support team around you, like you need to be hiring out your weaknesses and just the things that you just don't even like to spend your time and money on, or energy on rather. I think it's so important to make sure that you have that support person or that accountability group, team, mastermind, whatever it may be, that can help you to get to the next level. Because especially when people come out of corporate, you have a team around you. Even
Yeah.
if you don't have anybody under you directly, you still have a team to bounce
You have
ideas off.
coaches have coaches, and every billionaire that you could think of has a coach. Nobody created success on their own, and they're still not creating that success and getting the knowledge that they need alone. It is really a collaborative energy. And just to go back to speaking about financial literacy, this has everything to do with financial literacy, because you have to be able to know your numbers to know, okay, what can I invest in? And what you invest in is in your assets that actually make you more money. And you're not running around buying courses and buying things that you don't need, because you're so paying attention to how this money is coming in, how to serve clients. And I love how you mentioned like, oh, I took the course and I realized this and this and this is missing. So you go back to your winning assets and you say, you know what, how do I improve this so I can even make it a better quality, a better experience for my people? And that's how you create value. That's how you can increase your price. And that's not meaning you have to go create some other product. It's really just giving more value to what you already have and multiplying that. Again, that's all about learning how to play the game. And the only way you play the game is by knowing your numbers and not being afraid to look at them, because they're there to actually help you make decisions in your life. Like, what do I need to do next? Does this work? What else do I need to try? How much am I willing to invest to try something else? I think we've been so washed down, we've been so brainwashed that we have to save our money, that we have to invest in things that are not really true investments in our lives, and we have to really untrain or unschool ourselves from what we think our relationship is with money, in order to have the control back and power of managing it and using it as a tool in our businesses to grow in every aspect. Emotionally, spiritually, and financially. I mean, it's all connected. And it really goes back to who do you want to be and how you're going to use that money to get to there.
Yeah. And how can you put that money back into circulation and to help impact other people, impact the world, like even Candace was talking about what she was able to do. She reached a certain point. She was able to go and buy hotel rooms for all these homeless people. I mean, that is an incredibly awesome power to be able to have that. And as she said, she was trying to help the wrong people at first, who didn't need or didn't want her help really. And it was like a sense of entitlement for them, until she started, changing some things and realizing like, okay, I can do this instead. And that, you have that ability when you have the wherewithal, the belief in yourself, and the ability to charge what your value is. And that's I just think that's so key, that we get caught up in, oh my God, that's like such a stretch to get to that number, and I can't believe she's charging that. But the reality is, if it's serving a purpose and if it's helping people in the world, then there's a huge value in it. And so I think it's for us to step into that, like you said, just knowing what you want, but also really understanding the value and the impact that you can have on other people as well. That can be a game changer.
Absolutely. I think just that alone, Kim, just that, knowing how the value that your business has should give you the courage to learn the things that you don't know and to really be successful in your business. Almost like an obligation. It is your obligation to be successful in your business, because you have so many people that you can help with your success.
I love that. I love looking at it as an obligation. And I absolutely am taking away from this the fact that that money is my team player. It's part of my team. And that every day I give that money purpose. Like, okay, here's your purpose today. I'm literally going to put some jars there. Like, I'm going to label things. This is what I need you to do today. Here's your tasks, basically, because I mean,
be a leader. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I'm like, okay, your task is to do this, and now we have to help this and that. I just think it's a whole different way to look at it, and not think of it as, oh my gosh, we have to make this money. It's to really understand, because we can talk about all we want about monies and energy and getting into the flow of it and such, but it's kind of a heady talk. It's like, okay, I get that. You can understand those words, but really stepping in and under, like, getting into that and
Action.
yeah, it's a different deal. So I love thinking of it as a team player and giving it a purpose. I think that is absolute, for the pun, I think it's gold. It's money. I know we're at the time, and I know that you have a giveaway that Carrie Lynn is dropping in. She's going to put the link.
It's my favorite giveaway. It's called the 7 reasons why your manifestation won't work for you. It is really the 7 critical things that are holding you back towards your success. Why you keep asking and praying and dancing under the moonlight and throwing your crystals in the air and not getting what you want. Because I say the most powerful thing you can do is ask. But if you're asking from a place of scarcity, you're also almost jeopardizing exactly what you're asking. You're counteracting. So these are really 7 reasons why your manifestation won't work for you. And you can identify them in the way that you're doing your ask and your manifestation in your life, so that it becomes more easier for you to get out of your own way. So I really, this most powerful, it's a really powerful a video series. It's only 30 minutes long. And it's really my biggest gift, because once you know what your blind spots are, you're like, I'm in my way. I need to just get out of my way, or just put my fear in a corner, and whatever you need to do. Because that is most, time out, man, time out, fear, imposter syndrome, whatever you are, because it's most powerful thing in the world is to getting to know who you are and loving yourself unconditionally. So that's really part of it, and making the next steps more easier for yourselves. Because I do believe that queens don't hustle, we flow. So I hope that helps.
I love that. It's true. And we do, as women, we create differently, and we operate differently. And I think that's a key thing to know, because we just operate on a different level than men, in a different way. And I do like that. We're not hustling all the time. We don't need to hustle. And again, like I like to say, my new thing is it gets to be easy. Like, it gets to be easy. And because there's no reason why there has to be such a struggle. I'm a firm believer in that. And I've noticed that the more that I start stepping into more of that, and I say it gets to be easy, I've been able to hire more people that I've shifted things away to. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing half the stuff I did before, and I'm not worried about it, because it continues, it's coming back to me, in some cases triple fold. And it's a game changer. But big key, awareness and truly loving yourself, because it all has to come from here. And that self-love is going to open up to that value as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. I love this gift. It's in the chat right now. I also will send an email out that I put all the speakers' gifts and the contact information in there as well. So just know, if you didn't write it down, it's going to be in an email. It's going to be going out as well. So thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad you were able to be a part of it.
Thank you so much, Kim, for reaching out and having me speak on this topic. It has become my greatest mission right now, to really liberate women into their leadership, and really doing it on our terms and the way that we do it. So I love hearing that you have so much going on for you, and you're doing it on your own terms. So thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. I'll put the link is in here, and I'll send it out as well. Bye. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Bye,
Enjoy the
everybody.
thunderstorm. I hope you get the weather soon.